on my mind. Conor McGregor, you gotta come back and fight somebody. I am.
Pray for Michael Chandler.
Conor McGregor last fought in the UFC on July 10th of 2021 against Dustin Poirier, where he would lose and break his ankle.
There was no check.
Now in 2021, Charles Oliveira, the GOAT himself, was still lightweight champion at this point. COVID-19 was still kind of a thing, and Alex Pereira hadn't even joined the UFC. And in the time since Conor has been in the octagon, he's been doing a lot. He's made some movies, he's done a lot of coke, taking some steroids, or eating a balanced breakfast, depending on who you ask, yelling at the moon.
Phone isn't doing this justice, folks, yeah? Get out and have a look at that moon quick.
Eating strawberry shortcake ice cream bars in bed. And he almost fought Michael Chandler, but the Mac is back, and I am very intrigued by this fight because I do think he's going to lose this one, and he's probably going to lose it handedly, but you're not going to come out here and hear me say that, you know, Conor McGregor is going to get run through in this one. Max Holloway's going to run through him in one. I think Conor McGregor does have an outside shot in this one. He is Mystic Mac for a reason, even if he hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years. In this video, I'm going to outline some, reasons why I think he could win. Also kind of just talk about UFC 329 as a whole. But before we get into that one, can we just talk about Michael Chandler for a second? Because as soon as this news dropped, I just think of Iron Mike himself. And I do want people to check up on him. Call him, DM him if you can. If you know him personally, please hit him up for me. Because I actually did get a call. I got a text message, guys, from somebody close to Michael Chandler. And they saw him fall to his knees in a local CrossFit gym in tears. His wife had to drag him out of there. It was a brutal scene. And I do feel bad for him because, yes, does he get to fight at the White House? But he has to fight kind of a Brazilian, watered-down Conor McGregor in Mauricio Ruffi, which is kind of a kick in the balls to Michael Chandler. He spent years, kind of wasted his UFC career trying to get this Conor McGregor fight. Instead, he's going to be left unconscious by Mauricio Ruffi, and he's going to be stumbling out of the octagon, trying to shake Trump's hand, and Trump's going to be like, Secret Service, you got to get this guy away from me. He's not a champion. He sucks. He's terrible. I don't care that he voted for me 8 times on illegal ballots. Michael Chandler, he's fucking terrible. And he's not huge, he's terrible. Either way, I do feel bad for Iron Mike. But listen, I think Conor will lose this one, and mostly has to do with the fact that the guy is on a 5-year layoff, and his cardio already isn't great to begin with. We've seen throughout his career him slow down in the later rounds. That's why he's so dangerous early on, because he's so fast twitch and so athletic. In the first fight, however fucking many years ago, I think dinosaurs were still walking around the first time these dudes fought, he mixed in the wrestling really well. He looked like Conor McGregor Madoff, where he had a lot of nice top control, and had really nice wrestling and grappling. But I believe he kind of had to be forced to fight that way because he had a knee injury, which obviously caused him to kind of do that. And in that fight, he really stopped the length and the striking of a young Max Holloway, whose balls I don't even think get dropped yet. I think Max Holloway was still had a scratchy, high-pitched voice and was on Black Ops 2 yelling at people and crying to his mom. But how funny would it be? I've been talking to my friends about this. How funny would it be if Conor McGregor, he's out of the UFC for 5 years, and this guy just comes back and grapple fucks Max Holloway for 5 rounds? Like, how boring would that be? But imagine if it happened. Now, this win has aged very well for Conor. Max is now, a top 10, top 15 fighter of all time. But you're not really going to do this to Max Holloway in 2026. I know Charles just did it, but Conor McGregor does not have the wrestling pedigree, the grappling pedigree of a Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira smudged Max Holloway for 21 minutes. McGregor, I doubt, is doing that. Max Holloway, I still think, has good takedown defense and definitely has good defensive grappling, because Charles Oliveira rode this dude's back for 21 minutes like a fucking zombie on a chicken jockey and couldn't get a submission. I just don't think Conor McGregor is going to be putting Max Holloway in similar positions that Charles Oliveira was. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. Again, Max didn't get subbed by this guy with him having with Charles on his back for an entire fight. Now, I don't think this is impossible for Conor McGregor, in the sense that, like, Max Holloway's chin has depleted. He doesn't have that granite chin anymore. This guy's absorbed the most significant strikes in UFC history while also dealing the most damage. But listen, he's gotten dropped or wobbled in every fight since the Gaethje one. You know, Ilya put him out cold. The corpse of Dustin Poirier, where he was getting fucking AARP benefits, dropped him, and so did Justin Gaethje, also clipped him, even though I don't even think it counted as a knockdown, but Max Holloway was like, that was definitely a knockdown. I just think if Conor McGregor is to have a chance in this one, he can piece up Max Holloway on the outside. He does have heavy hands still. And also another underrated point that I haven't really heard people talk about. Yes, I've heard people mention, you know, Conor's going to fill out better at 170, and that's true. But we're going to get the return of Blob Max Holloway in this one. Like, remember when he moved up to 155 for the first time? Had a little bit of a Santa tummy back in 2019 when he fought Dustin for the interim belt. Like, that was pretty funny. Like, we're going to see a little bit of a fat, bloated out Max Holloway. And I do assume his chin is going to get better at 170. There's just a question to, like, if Conor McGregor is still going to have that touch of death that he had at 155 and 145, because that necessarily hasn't translated over to like the 2 welterweight fights or whatever, 3 that we've seen with him and Nate Diaz, and then the Cerrone where he just beat up on poor old cowboy Cerrone. Like, obviously McGregor is going to be more comfortable at 170 in this fight. That's a fucking given. Here's him looking like he's juiced up to the fucking gills.
He had more juice than Tropicana.
And I think he's going to have like a 10-pound advantage come fight night. Like, and he's going to have power in his hands. Even with my doubts about him, with the ring rust and the lack of cardio, I still expect Conor McGregor to come out here and hit hard. Max Holloway's a former featherweight who doesn't have, like, he's tall. I think he's 5'10", but he doesn't have this massive size or frame. Not like for featherweight, yes, but not even for lightweight, let alone welterweight, is he going to have this kind of frame mogging of Conor. Conor frame mogs this guy pretty badly, but Conor being out for so long just makes me... Fuck it. Conor being out for so long just makes me not want to pick him. Like, I just can't pick him. Like, maybe he looks sharp early on the outside where he's touching up Max. Maybe he mixes in the wrestling, but I think this guy averages like maybe 1 takedown a fucking fight. So I wouldn't even expect that to happen. I just don't think he can finish him, because when it gets to like round 2 and round 3, Max Holloway's just going to overwhelm him with his volume, mixing the combos, and probably just break Conor McGregor in round 2 or round 3. But I am very excited to watch this one. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of McGregor's biggest fan. He's probably like my favorite fighter of all time. And Max Holloway is also up there. But again, it is still so funny how Dana White fucking announced this during the fucking Udengayo and Ngannou walkout where fucking Joey Diaz. That was just so petty of Dana. He's like, what's the question? Fucking Ngannou? Yeah, fuck that kid. What's his name? Fuck him. Fuck Jake Paul too. Fuck Ariel Helwani. But either way, listen, a lot of people were even saying that Max would piece up Charles.
Hi, brother.
And he did nothing to him on the feet. Like, that was a demoralizing loss for Max Holloway, in the sense, you know, he's talking shit about Charles, where he's like, I don't even think he had that injury. Thing is, when I do a Max Holloway impression, it just turns into Nate Diaz, so bear with me. Where he's like, I don't even think that guy was injured. A fucking document. Now he went into a fucking Italian accent. But he got outstruck in control for 21 minutes. It was a tough loss from a guy from the Bronx in Charles. Killed pretty much any chance he had of an Ilya rematch. But either way, I don't think this is impossible for Conor. Max's head movement's not the same as it used to be. He's hittable. I don't think it's insane that there's a world where he could like maybe blob out Max. I don't think it's going to happen. Or just put Max out cold within the first 2 rounds, because he still does have power. And this is Max Holloway's first fight at 170. But I'm going to go with Max in this one. The ring rust and the lack of age, the age and the cardio, he definitely is old, makes me favor Max in this one. It's also 5 rounds. If this was 3 rounds, I would actually be very intrigued and maybe consider picking Conor McGregor. But Max just went 5 rounds with Charles. Conor isn't going to fucking do that. I like this fight for Max in the sense that he's going to get the big money fight and he gets the revenge against Conor. And if he wins, like I wouldn't say he's in the title picture, but he does kind of just get him back on track with momentum and a win. And people have kind of been saying like, oh, they should have given Conor a winnable fight like fucking Leon Edwards or Nate fucking Diaz or Jorge Masvidal. Like, those are more gimmick fights than this one, because at least Max Holloway's a top 5 lightweight in the world. If Conor somehow knocks him out or beats him, we can talk about, ooh, Conor versus Islam or Conor versus Ilya. I know those sound like the dumbest fights ever, but we all know the UFC, how they would fucking react if Conor McGregor sleeps Max Holloway and puts him out cold, or they just give him another high-ranked guy. You know what I mean? If Conor McGregor wins this, I do think he will fight again in the UFC, because he's actually technically going to be in the title picture, as dumb as that sounds. But let's move on to kind of the rest of this card, because UFC 329 is absolutely stacked as I'm blocking Max Holloway's face right here. Let me move over. I'll move to McGregor's cock. That's where a lot of people like to be. But you're getting Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. You're getting BSD versus Paddy Pimblett. We're getting Cory Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. We're getting Brandon Royval versus Lone'er Kavanagh. We're getting Gable Steveson versus Elijah Ellison. Nobody asked for Elijah Ellison. But either way, this card is pretty good. And let's just start off by talking about fucking everybody's favorite Marauders, BSD and Paddy Pimblett. Now, I'll say this for this fight because it is such a goofball matchup that I'm absolutely in love with, because they're both terrorists in different ways. Like, BSD is a guy who's fought terrorists and killed some people over in Africa and committed some war crimes, most likely. And Paddy Pimblett is an actual terrorist to the sport. Now, whoever wins this, the UFC is going to push all their stock into, and they're going to prop him up. I mean, Paddy Pimblett, he'll kind of always, I guess, be pushed by the UFC, but BSD is going to get a big push if he's able to beat and finish Paddy Pimblett. And I used to despise BSD, man. I fucking hated this guy, you know. I would say he had no skill, fight IQ, striking. He's so slow. I thought he was overrated. Watching Dustin Poirier knock this guy out was a fucking highlight of my life. But I've grown to understand the beauty in the chaos of BSD, because it's not pretty necessarily. You know what I mean? The one thing I'll give him this, though, the one thing I do think is pretty about BSD is when he gets on top of you, he's looking to fucking finish the fight. I think that's beautiful. But the slow feet, the takedown attempts with his head down, his blocking, marauder striking that's slow but somehow hits like a fucking truck. I love this guy. And my thought process, this BSD is on a run right now that can't be fucking stopped. Destroyed Mauricio Ruffy in France, sent Beneil Dariush to Agartha, and then he just ran through Dan Hooker. And these guys are both so fucking dumb. And BSD is probably better on the feet, which is hilarious to say. Now, I do think Paddy Pimblett can definitely win this one. He can threaten submissions, slow down the grappling of BSD. I do think this is just going to be an insane bloody mess with both guys being sloppy on the feet. Paddy, they're probably going to be slipping around the octagon. Paddy will mix in like sick body kicks and knees. There's not going to be any head movement on the feet. No striking technique whatsoever. Just guys trading bombs. A lot of goofy scrambling moments where they're slipping and sliding around the octagon. I do worry for Paddy in the sense that like he circles out along the cage and BSD just catches so many people that way, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just caught Paddy Pimblett battle on the cage. The funny thing is BSD could just run into a knee or an uppercut from Paddy Pimblett, one of those telegraph fucking Popeye the Sailor Man uppercuts that Paddy Pimblett throws, and just put him out cold. That wouldn't shock me. This is going to be a sick fight. I'm in love with this one. Moving on to Cory Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. Now, I really like this fight as a rematch. I do get some people kind of wanting Sandhagen versus Talbot, and you don't really know what's next for Payne Talbot. And I do want questions answered for Payne, but Mario Bautista fucking deserves this. He's clearly shown that, in my opinion, this guy's like top 4 bantamweight material, top 5, and I lean him here because he has gotten so much better and so much more improved from his debut against Cory Sandhagen all the way back in 2019 where he got finished. And Cory Sandhagen, we just know what he is, and he's probably peaked. Where Bautista, I mean, outside of that fight, I think he's 11-2 in the UFC. Has won 9 of his last 10, where his only loss was to Umar, where he dropped him and like stayed competitive in the fight for the most part, and is coming off one of his best performances against Vinicius Oliveira, where he just absolutely outclassed and destroyed that freak. He's just so well-rounded. I've come around to liking him a lot, and I know like a lot of people, me included in the beginning of kind of the Mario Bautista title run, hated this guy after the Aldo fight for just smudging up against the fence, which in all honesty, that happens to Jose Aldo every single time, especially in his old age. And I like Sandhagen. Don't get me wrong. I do like him, but we just know what he is with him. Like, he can't beat the elite of the elite like a Merab or a Piotr Yan or an Umar. And I feel like Mario Bautista, I don't necessarily know if he's as good as those 3 that I named, but he's definitely, in my opinion, a little bit better than Cory Sandhagen. Again, we know we're getting the outside foot battle with fucking Cory Sandhagen, the fucking Cory Nerdhagen, where he's listening to Claro and skateboarding and he's got wired headphones in. I just think his time has come. That yes, does he have the kind of crafty striking with some nice jiu-jitsu, but he just doesn't have a lot of pop. Kid doesn't have that much pop. He can mix in the calf kicks. I just think Mario is going to pull this off. He's got, really good grappling, scrambling, and he's improved on the feet a lot. I like Mario Bautista in this one. Moving on to, what's next on here? Moving on to Lone'er Kavanagh versus Brandon Royval. this is a sick fucking fight in my opinion, because like this is just high level. This is just your average flyweight fight, you know what I mean? Where I lean Lone'er Kavanagh, but I could see Royval just randomly locking in and looking like prime Brandon Royval, where he's putting on this insane pace and he just throws a bunch of insane boxing strikes and mixes in his weird jiu-jitsu and just wins a decision. You know what I mean? But like, they just keep giving Brandon Royval fucking demons, whether, you know, he loses to Pantoja, then he beats and fights Brandon Moreno, then he beats Tatsuro Taira, loses to Joshua Van in one of the craziest fights you'll ever see, and then he gets KO'd by Benel Kape, and now they're giving him the best prospect in the division. I don't even know if you call him a prospect anymore because he's 6th ranked, in Lone'er Kavanagh, who just stepped up on short notice at elevation in Mexico City and dominated Brandon Royval. Like, didn't just beat him, beat his ass, utilized the calf kicks really well, which we really haven't seen from Lone'er Kavanagh just in kind of his young career. I mean, he has beat up people's legs before, but he really dominated Brandon Royval. I do like Lone'er here, where he was just in Mexico City for 5 rounds. 2 rounds, I think, benefits him here. It kind of benefits Royval, too, in the sense that, like, he can put on an insane pace and not gas out. And I think he can chin Brandon Royval. He has pop, man, and he has the speed to do so, and he can get a KO. Lone'er still has something to prove, though. Like Moreno is washed. You know what I mean? That performance against Lone'er was shit. I want to give Lone'er his props for stepping up on short notice, but Brandon Moreno shouldn't have looked that shitty against Lone'er Kavanagh. And Royval's on a 2-fight losing streak. He has stuff to prove too if he's still kind of top of the division, gatekeeper quality. And I do think his durability has gotten worse, and Lone'er will survive the high output and chin this guy. But it's a close fight. I could see Royval randomly locking in. And moving on to the last fight of the fucking main card, we got Gable Steveson and Elijah Ellison. I mean, Elijah Ellison is legitimately a can. I don't know how this fight was made. His nickname's the Snack Panther. This is literally just Cutman Tate. They threw him out there. He's a fat black dude. Guy run through by Brando Pericic, where like he pulled guard in that fight after getting elbowed and up standing, and Brando got on top and just rained punches on him and put him out cold. This is a joke of a fight. It's a nothing burger. This is just Bo Nickel kind of level matchmaking for Gable, where they're trying to build him up. I don't even know why he's on the main card. Like, I get he's a decent heavyweight, and you know, somebody will beat him that's kind of good on the feet. Gable's not really there yet, where he kind of just plods around if he can't get a finish in that first round. But who really gives a fuck about this guy? He's a rapist.
Come on out, you rapist!
Wow.
Like, who really cares about fucking Gable Steveson? The guy's a rapist. And Whittaker is on the prelims. Fucking Bobby Knuckles, the future light heavyweight champion, is on the prelims. And I get it, he's a good prospect. And he's a great high-level wrestler. But Bobby Knuckles should be fucking on here. It's getting ridiculous. Fucking DeMarcus Cousins. It's getting ridiculous.
This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Either way, I do think this will be like a fun finish. And they're trying to build Gable Steveson up. So, whatever. I mean, whatever. And there's a lot of fun prelims on this one. Robert Whittaker, as spoken about before, he's taken on Nikita Krylov. This is one of those kind of weird ones because you don't really know what version of Nikita Krylov is going to show up. And I do feel bad for him because the fucking Bobby Knuckles title run is starting now. And I do like this matchup for him in the sense that he's not facing some like really scary on paper good light heavyweight, because there were rumors of him fighting Ankalaev, Khalil, Jamal Hill, not really scary anymore. Like, oh, the UFC didn't want Bobby to fucking slime any of those guys out. I get it. And again, Krylov could really show up, and we don't really know what we're gonna see, because, you know, before the Modestas Bukauskas win for him, he got chinned in the first round badly, got nuked by Dominic Reyes and Bogdan Guskov. Then he locked in versus Modestas Bukauskas and finished them at the end of round 3, and I was so fucking pissed about that one. But I'm gonna take Robert Whittaker by lighter man skill. He's coming for Paulo Costa's ass if he wins. So you, Paulo Costa, if you're out there, you better fucking watch out, buddy. We're coming for you. He's gonna steal your whole fucking flow. Yeah, I'm excited for Robert Whittaker versus Nikita Krylov. I think that's really a sick, top of the prelims. I wish it was over fucking Gable Steveson, that rapist, and Alicia Ellison, because who cares about them? Alicia Ellison's literally a random fat black guy that grabbed off the street. But either way, kind of the rest of the prelim fights they're pretty good in my opinion. Like Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka, that's a pretty fun featherweight fight where, you know, it's kind of a downgrade for Luke Riley after fighting Bogdan Grad and Michael Aswell, where he looked really sharp in both. And Kai Kamaka had a pretty fun fight against fucking Dakota Hope, I think the guy's name is, who I know is part of Joshua Van's gym. And he absorbed a bunch of damage in that fight early on, but won it by looking a lot sharper later on and landing big shots and pockets in the clinch. I'm probably going to take Riley in there just because he's more proven. Damian Pinos versus Cesar Almeida. I like that one too. You're highlighting a prospect that's pretty good in Damian Pinos, where he's really, Pinos is fun and he's fucking explosive and he's a hard-hitting prospect. Destroyed Wes Schultz in his debut. I mean, who does that to Wes Schultz, man? And that was pretty brutal. Almeida's just kind of a jobber. Lost to Cesario Leshashek in his last fight. Beat Ihor Peteria. Also lost to Roman Kopylov. You know, it's certainly a fight of all time. Then you have Zach Reese and Ryan Gandra. That's somewhere on here, right? Is that not on here? Did they fucking add that later on? Is Zach Reese versus Ryan Gandra actually a fight that's happening on this card, or did I just make that fight up? Could somebody confirm that if I made that fight up? Hold on, let me check if Zach Reese versus Ryan Gandra has actually happened. Zach Reese versus... No, it is on this card. I don't know why it's not listed on this graphic. They fucking disrespected my favorite unranked middleweight of all time, Zach Reese, who, for some reason, I've just always liked these guys. Zach Reese. He's just a fight... Zach Reese is just a random middleweight who kind of is fun. I don't know. I like watching him look like shit against Michel Pereira in his last fight. Ryan Gandra killed Jose Medina. I mean, who doesn't do that to Jose Medina? Zach Reese actually did. He took him to the decision. Cody Durden versus Ode Osborne. Cody Durden spawns in another card. You know how things are. Dude shows up to fucking work every 3 weeks. Maybe he wins, maybe he doesn't. He beat Joffo Fillo in his last one, though, so that was kind of funny. Ode Osborne, you know, nice power for the division, really good in the first rounds, pretty explosive. Lost to Alibi Adiris in his last fight, but was overturned because the fucking kid was taking steroids. I'm cool with that one. I like Ode Osborne and Cody Durden. You know, this is government mandated. This guy's got to show up on every single pay-per-view. Cody Garbrandt and Adrian Yanez. I really like this one too because it has name value. Everybody knows Cody Garbrandt. Everybody will probably hype him up for this fight and then he'll just throw less than 30 significant strikes over the course of 3 rounds. Probably get a hit in the balls a bunch. They'll bring out a bucket for him to throw up in or dry heave in, and then he'll do nothing like he did in the Long Zhao fight and somehow win. But I'll probably take Yanez here because he was robbed against Ricky Simone. That was a fucking bullshit-ass draw. And Garbrandt is just much more washed. And that Long Zhao performance was so shitty. I know he won, but I was like, oh, Cody Garbrandt's going to come out here and look like prime Cody Garbrandt, Flow State Garbrandt. And he didn't do fucking shit. And then Tracy Cortez versus Wang Kong is also on this card. And Tracy Cortez is a fat ass, and Wang Kong is, she's, I guess, the future of the women's flyweight division. You know what I mean? That's really the most I could say. People will complain about this card for some reason, that there's no title fight for International Fight Week. Who cares? We have Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. You could hate Conor McGregor. You're going to watch this one. And listen, this will also kind of cause, like, title fights to just get paired together on future cards where, like, 3:30, maybe we get Islam and Ian Gary, or Islam versus Ian Gary, and then Murad versus Piotr Yan. You know what I mean? Things are going to get pushed together. I think we're going to have like a stacked fall and early winter. I'm really excited for this card. I don't really care what anybody fucking says. I get people want to be like, gimmick fight. McGregor versus Holloway, the build-up is going to be sick as long as it happens. And one last point, everybody's like, oh, and I said this, I was a prisoner of the moment when I said this. I don't even know fucking why. Everybody's like, ooh, I'll believe it when I see it. Conor McGregor has pulled out, I believe, one fight in the UFC in recent memory, and it was against Michael Chandler. Max Holloway has had more pullouts, and not necessarily all his fault in terms of, like, he did it, like, you know, it was his choice. Like, he had a bunch of injuries or shit, like the concussion shit against, I think, Khabib or whatever. That was, like, an unsafe weight cut. He's had multiple injuries throughout his career that have pulled him out from fights. So I just want to point that out. I want to defend McGregor there. I get, like, he can't control all the rumors of this guy coming back where they're just throwing Michael Chandler rumors down our throat every year. Whatever. I just want to leave that last point. But thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new here. Also, remember to follow on Instagram and TikTok. Fuck TikTok. And follow me over on Twitter at The Cage Doctor. The Doctor is signing off.